Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to yet another SettlePal Academy webinar. For those of you joining us for the first time, as I see some of you are, my name is Bill, and I'm the community manager here at SettlePal. So, firstly, I'd just like to thank every single one of you for taking the time to join us today, whether you've been with SettlePal since the beginning or you've only recently joined our community. It's absolutely fantastic to have you here. Thank you for coming. And if you attended our first Academy webinar last month, and you'll remember that we explored the foundations of the SettlePal trading ecosystem. Um, and we looked at why prices differ between exchanges, how arbitrage opportunities are created, why settlement matters, how centralized exchanges work, and why blockchain verification is important. We covered a lot of bases, but today's academy is a little bit different. Rather than focusing on what arbitrage is, we're going to explore what actually happens behind the scenes before a trade is ever executed. So think of today's webinar as a exclusive tour inside the SettlePal trading desk. So very exciting stuff. Every day, our trading infrastructure is monitoring multiple exchanges, collecting live market data, analyzing liquidity, reviewing market conditions, managing capital positions, evaluating settlement requirements, and identifying potential opportunities. One of the biggest misconceptions about SettlePal is that we simply have an AI that finds the biggest profit and automatically executes the trade because in reality, actually, AI is only one part of the wider SettlePal ecosystem. Every trade also depends on market data, exchange connectivity, liquidity, capital allocation, settlement, inventory management, execution confidence, risk controls, and many other factors. So the AI supports the decision-making process, but it does not work in isolation. And moving on to slide two, um, over the next 20 to 30, well, maybe more like 30 to 35 minutes, we're going to explore how opportunities are evaluated, why the biggest return doesn't always win, why some profitable opportunities are intentionally skipped, why computing power and efficiency matter, what happens to capital after a trade is completed, how inventory and settlement affect future opportunities, and what happens when market conditions suddenly change, as they often do. So the key lesson for today is very simple. Successful trading is not about one perfect decision. It's actually about making consistently better decisions over time. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's step inside the Settle Power trading desk. Okay, so let's begin with what actually happens before SettlePal executes a trade in the first place. Finding a price difference is only the beginning. And just because the platform identifies a potential arbitrage opportunity, it does not mean that the opportunity is automatically approved. Um, Before capital is committed, the platform has to answer one very important question. Is this the right opportunity to execute? At SettlePal, every opportunity has to earn the right to be traded. Before execution, the platform evaluates a wide range of factors, market conditions, liquidity and market depth, spread stability, available capital, inventory levels, settlement requirements, execution probability, and loads of other variables that will affect whether the opportunity actually kind of makes sense. So let me use a simple example. Imagine that SettlePal identifies a price difference between two exchanges that could possibly create a 1% return. At first glance, that looks very attractive, right? But then the platform will look deeper and what if, in that case, the available liquidity, sorry, is very low? What if only a small amount of capital can actually be executed at that price? What if the spread is moving really quickly? What if the order book is thin? What if the probability of completing that trade successfully is falling? Well, suddenly that 1% opportunity may not actually look as attractive as it did at first glance. So that's why that is really why SettlePal doesn't simply ask where is the biggest spread. the platform actually asks, is this actually the right opportunity for the wider trading ecosystem? So, to explain that process, I want you to imagine every opportunity receives an overall score. So this is only an example and not our actual real internal scoring system, but it does help explain how the platform evaluates opportunities. Probability, Profitability, sorry, may contribute towards the score, but so does liquidity, execution probability, market stability, settlement efficiency, exchange balances, capital availability, and inventory positioning. Once those factors are all evaluated, the opportunity receives an overall assessment. And if it meets the internal execution benchmark, it can then move forward. If it does not, the opportunity is then rejected and the platform continues looking. So the key idea here is opportunity found does not always mean opportunity approved. And SettlePal's objective is not just simply to execute every possible trade. The objective is to execute the right trades. Um, so now that we understand every opportunity is evaluated, let's just look at something that often really surprises people. So the biggest profit does not always create the best trade. Okay. So most people do assume that if two opportunities appear at the same time, that the platform should simply choose the one with the biggest or the highest return. So that does sound logical, but in professional trading, the highest percentage is not always the strongest decision. So let's use another simple example, right? So imagine two opportunities appear at exactly the same time. So opportunity A offers a projected return of 2.1%, oh sorry, 1.2%, 2.1, that would be good. Opportunity B offers a projected return of 0.9%. At first glance, most people would probably choose opportunity A, right? The return is higher. But let's look a little bit deeper. So opportunity A may have weaker liquidity, the spread may be unstable, the order book may be thin, and execution confidence may be lower. So opportunity B now may have slightly smaller return, but it may have deeper liquidity, stronger execution, confidence, better inventory positioning. And in that situation, then, of course, opportunity B may actually receive the higher overall score. And why? Well, Settle Power is not only thinking about one trade, it's actually thinking about what happens after that trade. So every trade changes where capital is located. Every trade changes which assets are held on each exchange. Every trade affects settlement, and every trade can influence future trading opportunities. So let's make that even simpler. Imagine exchange A already has a large amount of Bitcoin, and at the same time, exchange B may require more USDT. Now, imagine two trades are available. One trade offers a slightly larger immediate return, but it leaves even more Bitcoin sitting on exchange A. And the second trade offers a slightly smaller return, but helps move capital into a position that gives exchange B more USDT. The second trade may actually create more value for the wider ecosystem. Why? Because it not only generates profit, it also improves the platform's position for the next group of trades. So think of it like chess. I love chess myself. The best move is not always the move that looks strongest immediately, as you all know. Sometimes the best move is the one that actually creates a stronger position further down the line, a few moves ahead. Um, that's not how that's not exactly well. That is exactly actually how SettlePal approaches trading decisions. The goal is not to optimize one isolated trade. The goal is to strengthen the overall ecosystem across thousands of decisions. Um, so yeah, so now I think we should answer another important question. If an opportunity looks profitable, why would SettlePal ever choose not to trade it? And the answer is simple. Markets change constantly. Digital asset markets move within seconds. The spread can shrink, the liquidity can disappear, the order book can change, execution conditions can weaken, or a better opportunity may appear. So let's use another example, right? Imagine that Settle Power identifies an opportunity with a 1.1% spread. At the moment that it is discovered, the liquidity, it looks really strong. The opportunity meets the platform's benchmark, but a few seconds later, the market conditions begin to change, as we all know they do. Liquidity starts to fall, the spread narrows from 1.1% to 0.6%, and then the order book changes again and the spread falls to 0.4%. And at that point, the opportunity may no longer deserve to be traded. So the important thing, I think, really to understand is that an opportunity is not evaluated just once. It is continuously reassessed. The process is a lot more like this: identify, evaluate, reassess, then execute, reject, or wait. The final option is really important because sometimes waiting is the best decision that you can make. Professional trading is not about reacting to every price difference. It's about continually asking, is this now the right decision? If the answer is yes, the opportunity can continue. But if the answer is no, the platform can reject it and move on. Okay, so sometimes another opportunity may appear during that process as well. And imagine if the first opportunity is still profitable but has started weakening. Um, well, at the same time, another opportunity appears with stronger liquidity, a more stable spread, and a better execution probability. Then the second opportunity, of course, may then receive a higher priority. That is why the opportunities we choose not to execute are just as important. Avoiding a weaker trade can actually be just as valuable as executing a stronger one because capital is limited, liquidity is limited, computing resources are limited, and market conditions are ever changing. So SettlePal does not try to force every opportunity into a trade. Knowing when not to trade matters as well. And now let's move on to another important part of the trading desk, computing power. And many people ask if SettlePal can analyze opportunities, why doesn't it simply analyze everything all day? Well, the answer is that every calculation uses computing resources. Modern trading infrastructure may have to process information across multiple exchanges, multiple cryptocurrencies, thousands of data points, market movements, probabilities, and potential outcomes. More data means more computational demand. So let's use a simple AI example. Imagine asking an AI, what is one plus one? That is a very small task, and it takes very little processing at all. So, but then now imagine asking that same AI to read hundreds of pages of market data, compare, thousands of prices, evaluate liquidity across multiple exchanges, calculate probabilities, and rank thousands of opportunities. That is a very different task. It requires far more processing. That's the simple fact. I mean, the same principle, of course, applies to SettlePal. Every exchange monitored, every cryptocurrency analyzed, every trading pair reviewed, every additional variable calculated. All of those require computing resources. Now, let's just imagine there are 10,000 possible opportunities waiting to analyze. Some may already have extremely low liquidity. Some may have spreads that are way too small. Some may have very low execution probability. It would be completely inefficient to spend exactly the same amount of computing power analyzing every single one. So the platform has to instead prioritize. It asks not only can we analyze this, but also is analyzing this the best use of our resources? And that is where computing efficiency becomes super important. The goal is not to analyze everything. The goal is actually to analyze what matters most. More efficient infrastructure can mean more opportunities analyzed using the same computing resources. It can mean better prioritization, and it can mean greater scalability as the platform grows. So think of it like improving the fuel efficiency of a car. The objective is not actually to simply build a bigger engine. The objective is to travel further using the same amount of fuel. SettlePal's trading infrastructure works in a very similar way to that. Success is not about using the most computing power, it's about using computing resources intelligently. So let's look at what happens after a successful arbitrage trade. So most people assume that once a trade generates profit, the process is finished. Well, the trade is completed, the profit is realized, and then the platform moves on. But actually, inside the trading ecosystem, profit is not the end because after a successful arbitrage trade, asset positions have changed. Let's use a simple example. Imagine after Imagine that after a trade, exchange A now holds more Bitcoin, exchange B now holds more USDT, and exchange C may require more Ethereum. Now, the profit has been realized, but capital is now positioned differently, and those positions affect the next trading opportunity. And this is where inventory and settlement become really important. After each trade, the platform is having to evaluate, where is the capital, which assets are available, where is liquidity needed, where is more USDT required, where is crypto inventory building up, and what position best prepares the platform for the next opportunity. So let's make that really practical. Imagine Bitcoin currently offers the highest spread. Normally, you might assume that Settle Power should simply keep trading Bitcoin, but what if exchange B already has enough Bitcoin? And what if it actually needs more USDT, for example? If the platform continues selecting Bitcoin trades only because the immediate spread is slightly higher, then the inventory on that exchange may become less efficient. So the platform may actually prioritize another trade that helps rebalance those assets. And that trade might generate a slightly smaller immediate return, but it may actually improve the position of the entire ecosystem. Trade one affects trade two affects trade three affects trade four. Each trade is influencing the next. So this is one of those reasons that SettlePal combines different forms of arbitrage. Okay, so inter-exchange arbitrage can create opportunities between exchanges, and triangular arbitrage can also help recycle capital, rebalance cryptocurrency inventory, and reposition assets. So let's use a really simplified example for now. Imagine we have BTC on one exchange, but we need USDT, but we need more USDT there. So a triangular sequence may allow the platform to move through another cryptocurrency and look and back into USDT while also identifying potential trading value along the way. So triangular arbitrage is actually not only about generating another profit opportunity, it can also support inventory and capital management. And that is why one trade never exists completely in isolation. So when we say, profit isn't the end of the trade, what we really actually mean is the next challenge begins immediately. The platform has to prepare itself for that next opportunity. Let's look at one final trading desk lesson. We covered quite a lot. So, what happens when market conditions suddenly change? Well, this matters because markets, as we all know, are very unpredictable. Prices can move quickly, liquidity can fall, spreads become unstable, execution probability can change, and opportunities that looked strong only moments ago can disappear. No trading strategy wins 100% of the time. Professional trading is not about predicting everything perfectly, it's about responding effectively. So let's use another simple example. So imagine an opportunity passes the initial, evaluation. Liquidity is strong, the spread looks stable, execution confidence is high, the trade is moving towards approval, and then suddenly the market becomes a lot more volatile. A large order enters the market, prices move quickly, the available liquidity, drops. Now the opportunity may look completely different from only a few seconds earlier. And at that point, SettlePal does not need to continue simply because the opportunity was originally approved. The platform can reassess that trade and it may choose another opportunity. It may reposition capital, it may focus on another asset, for example, or it may execute fewer trades. Or, of course, it may simply wait. The important point is this: an opportunity must continue meeting all these requirements until execution. It's not enough solely for the trade to look good when it first appears. It has to remain strong throughout that entire process. That is why adaptability really matters. The goal is not to predict everything. The goal is to respond effectively when those conditions change. Strong trading infrastructure is built around that discipline, and it is very disciplined. So let's take a step back and look at that bigger picture, right? Settle power is not simply AI finds price difference and then buys and sells. It's actually a wider trading ecosystem combining that AI, market data, exchange connectivity, liquidity, capital settlement, inventory, risk management, and computing infrastructure. AI supports the decision-making process, but it's only part of the wider infrastructure. That is important for every member to understand. When someone asks you how SettlePal works, you do not need to explain every technical detail, but you should understand the overall process. A price difference is discovered, the opportunity is evaluated, the platform considers more than just profit, the opportunity is reassessed as market conditions then change. If it still meets that benchmark, it can move forward. After execution, capital and inventory positions change. Those positions then influence future trading opportunities, and throughout this entire process, computing resources, liquidity, and settlement all are having to also be managed efficiently. So that is the real lesson from today's academy. Settle Power is designed around better data, better execution, better risk management, better settlement, and better inventory management, and better computing efficiency, not that one perfect decision. Okay, because consistently better decisions over time actually are worth more. Um, so what does this mean for you? Well, as a Settle Power member, what does this mean for you? It means you do not need to manage the trading desk yourself. That is our responsibility. Your role is simply to understand how the platform works, continue learning, and build confidence in the technology behind it. So, the more I guess that you understand what happens behind the scenes, the easier it becomes to explain Settle Power to others. Instead of simply saying our AI trades for us, you can explain something much more meaningful, like what I've said here today. You can explain that SettlePal, evaluates opportunities across market conditions, liquidity, settlement, capital availability, inventory, and execution confidence before a trade is even approved. You can explain that the biggest return is not always the best opportunity. You could explain that, uh, you know, you can explain why some profitable opportunities are going to be skipped. And you can explain why every completed trade affects what happens next, just like chess. So that is a much stronger conversation. And that is exactly why we created the Settle Power Academy. We want every member to understand not only what the platform does, but why it does it. Because confidence comes from understanding. And the more you understand, the easier it becomes to explain the platform clearly and accurately. So before we move into today's knowledge check, I want to briefly speak about education because every member joins SettlePal with a completely different level of experience. Some members, for example, are already understanding, digital assets, whereas and may have traded before, but others are completely new, and that is like perfectly okay because every expert was once a beginner. Settle Power Academy is not designed to turn everyone into a professional trader overnight. It is, however, designed to help members understand the platform, the ecosystem, and the thinking behind the technology. The more you understand the platform, the more confident you're going to naturally become. You're going to understand why certain decisions are made. You'll feel more comfortable explaining the technology. And if you're building a team, you'll be able to answer questions with a lot more confidence. Education creates confidence. Okay, confidence builds trust, and trust helps strengthen the community. So keep asking those questions, keep attending these academy sessions, keep learning. And if today's session raised any questions at all, your relationship manager is, of course, always there to support you. Now, let's see how much everyone remembers from today's academy. It's time for the SettlePal Academy Knowledge Check. Okay, guys, before we move into today's giveaway, we're going to finish with a short knowledge check. So they're going to be eight multiple choice questions. Each question has three possible answers, A, B, or C. Very simple. Once you've answered all eight, type your answers into the webinar chat as one message. Okay, so for example, 1A, comma, 2C, comma, 3B, comma, 4A, comma, 5B, comma, you get the idea. Everyone who completes today's knowledge check will receive one additional entry into today's giveaway. These are not trick questions, okay? They are designed to help you remember rather than being tested the key lessons from today and explain them more confidently to others. So, are you ready? Let's begin. Question one. Before SettlePal approves a trade, what is the most important things our trading infrastructure evaluates? A, multiple variables to determine whether the opportunity reaches our internal execution benchmark. B, which cryptocurrency is currently the most popular. Or C, which exchange has been operating the longest? I'll give you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Question two. Why doesn't SettlePal always choose the trade with the biggest percentage return? Is it A, because larger returns are automatically rejected? Is it B, because the overall decision also considers execution probability, market conditions, settlement, inventory, and the wider trading ecosystem? Or is it C, because every trade must have exactly the same return? I'll give you another 10 seconds. Brilliant. Okay, question three. Why are some profitable opportunities intentionally skipped? Is it A, because opportunities are continuously reassessed and market conditions may change before execution? Is it B, because profitable trades are reserved for larger accounts? Or is it C, because Settle Power only trades at certain times of day? Another 10 seconds for you. Brilliant. Question four. Why doesn't SettlePal simply analyze every possible opportunity all day long? Is it A, because exchanges don't allow it? Is it B, because every calculation consumes computing resources, so the platform prioritizes where those resources create the greatest value? Or is it C, because the AI turns itself off after each trade? Another 10 seconds for you. Okay, question five. Once a trade has generated profit, what happens next? Is it A, the trading process finishes completely? B, Settle Power evaluates how capital, inventory, and settlement should be positioned for future opportunities? Or is it C, all funds are automatically returned to one exchange? Another 10 seconds for you. And question six, how can triangular arbitrage help the SettlePal ecosystem? A, it only generates profit. Sorry, it only generates additional profit. B, it can help recycle capital, rebalance cryptocurrency inventory, and prepare the ecosystem for future opportunities. Or C, it replaces inter-exchange arbitrage. Okay, 10 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question seven, second last question here. What happens if market conditions suddenly change? Is it A, the trade is always executed anyway? B, the opportunity is re-evaluated and if it no longer meets the internal benchmark, it may be rejected? Or C, the trading immediately stops for the rest of the day. Another 10 seconds, and then your final question. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And your final question, question 8. What is the biggest lesson from today's academy? Is it A, that successful trading is about finding one perfect opportunity? Is it B, successful trading is about executing as many trades as possible? Or is it C, successful trading is built on making consistently better decisions over time? Give you a final 10 seconds on that, then we're going to wrap up. Okay. Thank you to everyone who took part in today's knowledge check. That's fantastic. If you haven't submitted your answers yet, please type all answers into one chat message. So 1A, comma 2B, comma 3A, etc., etc. Everyone who completes today's knowledge check will receive one additional entry into today's giveaway as well. Our team will review all eligible entries after today's webinar has concluded. Now, should we just recap those correct answers? I'll give you a couple more seconds just to write those into the chat. And yes, so okay, a couple more seconds if you haven't typed them in yet. Okay. Okay, so let's recap. So question one was A, question two was B, question three was A, question four was B, question five was B. Question six was B. Question seven was B. And question eight was, of course, C. And even if you didn't get every question right, the goal is actually learning. Okay, so hopefully after today, you will have a much better and clearer understanding of what happens inside the SettlePal trading desk. Well, everyone, that brings us to the end of today's SettlePal Academy. So, firstly, just want to thank you again for spending part of your day with us. I'm sure you're very busy, but today we've looked behind the scenes at how SettlePal evaluates opportunities before a trade is executed. We explored why the biggest profit doesn't always create the best outcome, and why some opportunities are intentionally skipped, why computing power matters, why capital, inventory, and settlement affect future trades, and how the platform responds when market conditions change. Hopefully, one thing has become clear. SettlePal is not built around one algorithm or one opportunity. It is built around a wider trading ecosystem working together. Market data, exchange connectivity, liquidity, capital, settlement, inventory management, risk management, computing infrastructure, and proprietary AI models, all working together to support one objective, making consistently better decisions over time. That's what we want every member to understand. And that's why, and what we'll continue building through future Academy sessions. So before everyone heads off, let's just finish with today's giveaway reminder. If you completed the knowledge check, thank you for participating. Every completed knowledge check receives one additional entry into today's giveaway. So yeah, go and do it. Our team will verify all eligible entries after the webinar and randomly select the winners. So you have a great chance. All winners will be announced within 72 hours on our official Telegram announcement channel. Please make sure you are following the official Telegram channel so that you don't miss the announcement. And if you are selected as one of today's winners, our team will contact you using your registered SettlePal account details and arrange your prize to be credited in accordance with the giveaway terms. Finally, if you enjoyed today's Academy, we'd love to hear your feedback. If there's a topic that you'd like us to cover in a future session or just something that you'd like explained in a little bit more detail, please let your relationship manager know. Your feedback really helps us create and shape, future Academy content for the entire community. So yeah, please do. On behalf of everyone here at SettlePal, thank you once again for joining us. Stay curious, stay learning, and keep asking questions. And I'll see you guys at the next SettlePal Academy. Have a fantastic day. Take care.